monstrous and ferocious Bandit like you have never seen before.
It took me 2 years to build up the nerve to even dump the clutch on this thing.
Here's one we absolutely had to share with you because in the sea of modern sport bikes at the Tennessee Bike Rumble, this old school Bandit with a turbocharger stood out in the crowd. This thing is wild. We know Suzuki made about 100 horsepower from the factory. We're dealing with well over 200. This thing has a sound unlike any other. It's incredibly quick, incredibly nimble. We're going to hear all about it and see it in action. We're going to get to talk to the owner as well and ask him why a Suzuki Bandit. Basically, what Suzuki did here in the mid-90s is they took a GSXR1000 air-cooled motor off the shelf, punched it out to 1157, tuned it, put it in a nice, lightweight, nimble chassis, and said, have at it, boys. It became one of the most popular touring bikes, and folks who enjoyed old-school simplicity really connected with this bike. In drag racing, it's a footnote as Brock Davidson was the first to put a street tire motorcycle in the 7s, and he did it with a Bandit. That was way back in 1999. Definitely one of the best bang for your buck bikes of the last decade. If you have any memories involving this machine, please leave it down below in the comments.
Well, this is certainly a unique creation. Turbo Bandit. What is your name, sir?
Todd Roberts.
From?
Cornersville, Tennessee.
There we go, there we go. Tell me about this machine.
It's a handful. It's dynoed at 214 with 110 gas. Only 20 pounds of boost. It's only 68-inch wheelbase, which when it starts building boost, that's not a lot. I've had a lot of problems with it wheeling. So there's been a lot of clutch tuning and trying to figure it out. And when the 6.0 class with this SDBA came up, I decided to try to run it. And I'm getting there, but it's been a lot of scary runs with wheeling and keep taking weight off the lockup.
Let's check this machine out in action.
I've changed gas, and so I think it's making more than 214 right now, and I'm afraid to turn the boost up because of how radical it is to run right now. With good air, short shifting, I've run a 591 at 129 miles an hour, and the best mile per hour I've gotten was 131. Up here so far, still short shifting a little bit. 607 at 124 I think was the best. So if I was to be able to maybe put a longer swing arm on it, or set it up with wheelie bars, which I've thought about, and turn the boost up, 560 would be no problem at all. I just like it the way it is right now. I can still run it in street ET if I don't use the two-step, and I have a title for it. I had it tagged and insured for a while and rode it on the street a little bit, but primarily just a drag bike.
And a drag bike that was turning on a lot of wind lights in street ET, and you gotta love the unique sound of this machine. Turn up your speakers and enjoy.
It's a lot of fun. It carries the front tire. Before it goes, it'll pick up the front tire, sit back down, the light comes on, picks it up again. And when I was running with good air at a lower elevation, when I would go to second gear, hit the button of second gear, it'd pick up the tire maybe 16 inches and carry it 60, 80 feet. It won't do that now, not here. And I've taken weight off the lockup and everything.
See the wheelie that Todd's talking about. Keep in mind, 214 horsepower.
So I'm hoping to do well today. I didn't do well the first race.
So we're here in a sea of GSXRs and Hayabusas.
Yes.
I gotta ask you, why a Bandit?
I got a good deal on it. The shop in Fayetteville, Performance Motorcycle, Dan Mars. I'm sure some of you guys out there remember him. I was doing business with him. I'd seen it. I was like, wow, this is cool. You know, I'd love to have it. But he wanted too much money for it, or at least I couldn't afford it. He got sick, unfortunately, with cancer, and made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And it's been a lot of fun.
You can tell Todd getting emotional talking about his fallen friend. God bless there, but it's great that this motorcycle lives on.
Walk me through your procedure if you could. Tell me what you're doing from the burnout box all the way to the finish line.
It's a second gear burnout. You know, try to get it good and hot. I've got a two-step. I've recently put like a clutch stop here, or a little bolt stop that helped me with my reaction time. So I really don't have to set on the two-step a lot to build boost, because it's not really, it builds enough boost to launch it. Then once I leave, it slips. The way I've got the clutch set up, the lockup hits, the front end comes up.
And let's take a look in slow motion at this wild launch. As you can see, this thing just wants to wheelie.
Once it sets back down, the light will come on, and then I'll hit the button, and it usually comes up again. And when I was running in good air, when it was cooler, lower elevation, a couple times it came up second to third. And then across the finish line, depending on how much shutdown I got, you know, I'm leery hitting the brakes too soon because of the speed that it's running. And Music City Raceway at Huntsville is a real good shutdown area. I feel real comfortable running there. I was a little scared last night at night here, not being able to really see and not be familiar with the track. So there was a couple of times I got towards the end, it was a little sketchy, but it's a lot of fun.
What's it like when that wheel starts popping up?
Well, it took me 2 years to build up the nerve to even dump the clutch on this thing. I was riding it where I'd feather and roll in the gas and feather the clutch. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to run a Pro Tree class, index class like that. So at the first of the year, I had some pretty big wheelies. One time it hit so hard it knocked my shift light loose. And so after that I went to the first SDBA race, and every time the wheel would start coming up, I got scared and I'd let out of it. So that was part of the reason of doing bad. I kept chasing, trying to tune the clutch because the tracks were closed. We couldn't go test. And so now I know what it's going to do, and I just hold on. And it comes down. I had a bike like this years ago that did the same thing. After the 60 foot, it would come up and it would set back down. The shift light would come on, and you just go down and run the rest of your shift points when the lights come on.
It's a wild machine.
And I think I got it figured out. We'll see. I'm out experienced here. I think I've got a fairly consistent setup now. I don't have an auto shift on it yet. That'll be the next thing I do. So then we'll see what happens today.
It's tough to work with the turbo and tune in the turbo?
I haven't had to. The only thing I had problems with was when I first started making passes on it, it was sputtering on the big end when you're high RPMs. And I thought it was draining the fuel bowl. And so come to find out, after reading some stuff on some turbo sites, it was, they call it spark plug quenching or blowing the flame out. So I changed the plugs and I tightened the gap, and it cleared that up immediately. And so it was already jetted when I got the bike, and it had been dynoed, and I've got a dyno sheet on it. That's why I know it made 214. So now I'm running C16. You know, it may make a little more horsepower. It was run and dynoed with Klotz oil, and that's what the builder recommended. And so that's, even though it's really expensive, that's what I run, and I'm gonna stick with that. He claims he had some bikes that they just switched to Klotz oil and it picked up 5 horsepower on a dyno. Of course, these were probably bikes that had 350 horsepower.
It's an awesome piece, man. Be safe out there, and can't wait to watch you make some more runs.
Thank you.
And as I mentioned, Todd was getting a little bit emotional. We want to give one more shout out and pay some homage to the original owner of this bike.
He got diagnosed on his birthday, and 8 months later, you know, he passed away.
This is the man who sold you the bike?
Yeah, it was out of his shop.
Well, that's special. Let's give him a shout out. Unfortunately, the man who sold you this bike no longer with us.
Dan Mars.
He passed
Yeah.
away of what?
Pancreas cancer.
Sorry to hear, man. You know he's got to be smiling down watching you have
I
some
hope
fun.
so.
Tough one right there. But it's great to keep his legacy alive. And
they don't have this many people show up.
you can tell this one means so much to Todd. And guess what, guys? Follow this story, because Todd chopped through this field of street ET and won it all. He took this thing to the winner's circle. Don't believe me? There's the picture to prove it. And it was a very tough field. Not only is it a monster, not only is it cool, it's a winner. Thank you, everybody, for subscribing to Cycle Drag on YouTube. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the comments, and thank you for also liking CycleDrag.com on Facebook. Share it with your friends. If you keep it growing, we're going to keep bringing you awesome stuff like this. Thanks a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, the legend is here. How are you doing, sir?
I'm cycle dragging. That's what I'm doing. Cycle dragging forever and ever and ever.
You are the man. Sweep the leg, right?
Sweep the leg, no mercy, and cycle dragging.
Hey guys, this is WWE superstar Zack Ryder, and when I'm not winning championships or collecting action figures, I'm on YouTube watching Cycle Drag and going to CycleDrag.com. And also, when you're on YouTube, go to the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. All right, Cycle Drag on YouTube, CycleDrag.com.
Sure hope you enjoyed this look at a special Bandit. Please share with all your motorcycle friends. Make sure you subscribe to Cycle Drag on YouTube, like CycleDrag.com on Facebook so you never miss a video. And you know, if there's anything fast, impressive motorcycles, especially turbo bandits, we're in. Cycle Drag rolls on.